The original Space Mountain opened at Magic Kingdom in Florida in 1975 with 2 sides for added capacity. It was followed up 2 years later with a very similar but also slightly different Space Mountain at Disneyland in California. 3 more Space Mountains were constructed in the following years at Disneyland Paris, Tokyo Disneyland, and Hong Kong Disneyland, but this video is specifically focusing on the original American Space Mountains. Magic Kingdom still has the original track from its opening year, and it is certainly the jankier of the two with its one-across style seating, very similar to that of Matterhorn bobsleds at Disneyland. Disneyland's got a major refurbishment in 2005 to completely replace its track and update the ride's score with onboard audio on its traditional 2-across trains. The trains on Florida's Space Mountain give ample room for airtime but are a little awkward to get into, while California's have very comfortable trains since they were refurbished more recently. The stats for both rides are obviously very similar, but definitely aren't the exact same. Florida's 2 tracks reach a height of 90 feet, speed of only 27 miles per hour, and both tracks are about 3,200 feet long. The 2 sides also have distinctive names, with the left side being Alpha and also slightly longer, and Omega being on the right side. At least on my last visit, Alpha was for the standby line, while Omega was for the lightning lane. California's one and only track has a height of about 100 feet, speed of 32 miles per hour, and a length of 3,460 feet. This version also has a lot of overlays throughout the years, such as Hyperspace Mountain with a Star Wars theme, and Ghost Galaxy for Halloween. Now that we got the basic info out of the way, let's see how it rides. Due to both rides being basically pitch black for the majority of the ride experience, I'll be using a lights on POV for Florida's version, while using a normal version for California's. Florida's Omega side begins with a long tunnel with blue lights flashing around you before you suddenly turn right into the ride's main lift hill. As you ascend the hill, you can notice other trains passing you to the right down a small drop, as well as a big spaceship in between the 2 lift hills, and a control room as you prepare to launch. When you reach the top, you drop slightly into a tight right-handed turn and then into another tight left-handed turn, before popping into another turnaround section with some good airtime entering it. You make some more right tight turns in the darkness before rising up again into another airtime pop and dropping down slightly into 2 more lateral filled turns. You then reach the slight drop right by the lift hill that actually gives a sudden jolt of airtime before turning left a couple more times and dropping again. You make another tight turn and drop even further in the pitch black, before finally reaching a long and drawn-out right-handed helix and a red-lit tunnel to end the ride. Disneyland's begins similarly with a light tunnel but with small lift hills before and after it. Once you reach the main ride area, you also make a slight turn into a third small lift hill before starting the ride experience. Although you do go slightly faster and taller than Magic Kingdom's version, this one doesn't feel as intense due to the drops being smaller and the track being a lot smoother. The main score for the ride can be heard a lot more clearly too, with the speakers actually being built in the train for this version. You make a similar series of drops and turns throughout its layout like Florida's, but you can see more stars on the ceiling as you ride, as well as depictions of galaxies in the distance. During the Hyperspace Mountain layover, you can also see TIE fighters and X-Wings fighting all around you, with some cool lighting effects to simulate them shooting at you as well. Overall, both Space Mountains are fantastic Disney classics, and there's a reason they've been at these particular parks for so long, as well as spread to other later parks built as well. I personally prefer the jankier Magic Kingdom version due to how much more airtime you get, and it being a more thrilling ride experience. Most people seem to prefer Disneyland's version due to the more sleek and modern design in its queue line and throughout the ride. The onboard soundtrack is a great improvement, and there's a lot more to see during the ride experience, but that's kind of what I like about Florida so much, is that you can't see anything on that version. The queue line is also improved upon for Disneyland, especially the station with a large spaceship above the ride platform instead of actually during the ride. Disneyland's is also obviously much smoother, and honestly one of the smoothest coasters I've ever been on. If you do like jankier rides, however, then you'll love Magic Kingdom's version. Both are easily my favorite coasters at each respective park, although I do prefer Incredicoaster and Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind for the best at both resorts in total. Be sure to subscribe for more content and be on the lookout for more coaster reviews and other theme park videos in the near future.